Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that takes a whole stack of sources, figures out what really matters, and, well, brings those key insights straight to you. Today, we're pulling back the curtain a bit. We're looking at the regulatory world behind the medical devices, the ones we rely on every day. Have you ever stopped to think about the really complex processes that make sure a medical device is safe, that it works right from the moment someone first thinks it up?
It's a fascinating area. And here in the U.S., the heart of it is the FDA's quality system regulation. You'll often hear it called 21 CFR Part 820. And this isn't just some dry set of rules. It's the actual good manufacturing practices, the GMP, but specifically for medical devices. Think of it maybe less like just a recipe and more like the whole operational plan for a top-tier restaurant. Every ingredient, every step, the equipment, how the staff are trained, it's all incredibly detailed. The goal is consistency, top quality batch after batch, safety and quality baked in.
That's a great way to put it, actually, that idea of embedded quality. And so today, in this deep dive, we're really going to unpack just how wide-ranging QSR is. We're talking about the whole journey, right? From the first design sketches through manufacturing, packing it up, labeling it correctly, storing it, installing it, even servicing it down the line. And a big part of this, as we'll see, is having a compliant quality management system, a QMS. It's not just paperwork. It's the thing that makes it all work together. It orchestrates the whole quality effort.
Exactly right. The QMS ensures quality isn't just an afterthought, something you test for at the end. And QSR itself, well, it's the FDA's foundational framework. The real trick is making sure every single batch of devices consistently meets those really high standards. Not just once, but every single time.
Consistency, yeah. That seems absolutely crucial. So let's trace that journey, because the scope, like you said, is huge. It covers the device's whole life. And it starts right at the beginning with design. Where do you see companies maybe underestimating things when it comes to QSR right at that design stage?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Because a lot of focus is on the innovation, the cool new idea. But QSR forces you to think about control and documentation from day one. A really key piece here is the design history file, the DHF. And it's not just like a random collection of papers. It's the complete story of how that device was designed and developed. A full chronological history. Everything's in there. Design inputs, what does it need to do? Design outputs, what did we actually design? All the reviews, the testing, verification, validation activities. It's the proof.
Okay, so the DHF is the story. Then how do you prove the device was designed right? You mentioned verification. How does that work practically? And how is it different from validation?
Good question. Verification is basically checking. Did our design output meet the input requirements? Did we build the device according to our own plan? Validation asks a slightly different question. Did we build the right device for the user and for what it's supposed to do? So validation often means testing actual production units under real-world conditions or simulated ones. And a huge part of that nowadays is software validation. That's a whole complex area itself.
Right.
And importantly, this isn't just for devices already on the market. Even if you have an investigational device, maybe it's in clinical trials under an IDE, an investigational device exemption, you still have to comply with these design controls. 21 CFR 820.30 stalls that out. Design integrity matters from the very start.
Okay, so the design is locked down, documented in the DHF. Now we move into actually making the thing, manufacturing and production controls. This is where quality gets, as you said, baked in.
Exactly. You can't just inspect quality into a product at the end of the line. It has to be built in step by step. So we talk about production and process controls. And a huge piece of that is process validation. This isn't optional. You have to prove with data that your documented manufacturing steps consistently deliver the results you expect, time after time. It gives you that reliability, that predictability.
And that reliability has to extend to the machines themselves, right? The equipment.
Absolutely. QSR is very clear. Equipment used in manufacturing. It has to meet specifications. It needs to be designed right, built right, installed correctly, and set up so you can actually maintain it, adjust it, clean it properly, and use it effectively. It needs to be fit for purpose and stay that way.
Okay, production's underway. What about getting it ready for the user? Packaging and labeling seem, well, critical.
Oh, absolutely critical, especially for patient safety. Think about it in an error here. Wrong device gets used, instructions are unclear. The consequences can be incredibly serious.
And the instructions for how to package and label, those are in the device master record, the DMR, right?
Yes, the DMR contains those requirements. And the actual operations, the packaging and labeling lines, they have to be tightly controlled. You absolutely have to prevent mix-ups.
Can't have the wrong label on the wrong box.
Exactly. And for traceability, You need to document the specific label that was used for every single unit or lot or batch. That record goes into the device history record, the DHR. It creates that unbreakable link back.
Okay. Packaged, labeled,
Yeah.
then you have to store them.
Right. And proper storage is crucial too, especially for investigational devices, but really for all devices. Some devices need specific temperatures or humidity control. If you don't maintain those conditions, the device could be compromised before it even gets near a patient.
Yeah, that makes sense. So there are rules about the warehouse conditions.
Definitely. You need written procedures for storage. Covered the warehouse conditions, how things are organized, all designed to prevent mix-ups, damage, contamination. And another key thing, returned products. If something comes back, it has to be segregated, kept separate, like a quarantine area. Until someone makes a formal decision about what to do with it. You can't risk a potentially faulty product accidentally getting back into the main inventory. That's a major control point.
Makes sense. So QSR doesn't stop at the factory door then. What about installation and servicing?
Nope, it keeps going. If you make a device that needs installation, think complex imaging equipment, maybe you need to provide adequate instructions for installation and inspection. And test procedures too, to make sure it's installed correctly and will perform as intended. A perfect device installed badly, it can still fail.
And I bet the DMR comes back into play here too.
You got it. The DMR also contains the details for installation, maintenance, servicing procedures. It's the guide for those post-production steps, making sure the device keeps working correctly out in the field. That directly impacts safety.
Okay, we've traced the whole journey, but let's zoom in now on the system that manages all this. The quality management system, the QMS, this seems like the real engine driving compliance.
It really is. And it's more than just procedures. It's about fostering a genuine culture of quality, integrating everything, making continuous improvement just how things are done. So core QMS processes, you've got document control, managing all that paperwork, change management, handling modifications safely, training management, making sure people know what they're doing, then non-conformance management, dealing with things that go wrong, complaint handling, listening to feedback from the field.
Okay.
And beyond those, you have KPA corrective and preventive action, not just fixing problems, but stopping them from happening again.
Right, the preventive part is key.
Huge. Then audit management, both internal checks and external ones. Supplier management, because your suppliers are part of your quality system. Equipment management, managing the product itself, and really important post-market surveillance. Keeping an eye on things once they're out there.
Wow, it sounds like a really intricate machine, everything connected. And quality has to be proactive, not reactive. So where does leadership fit in? Management responsibility. How does leadership make this actually work? It can't just be a manual on a shelf, right? It has to be lived.
Absolutely. It's a total team effort, top down and bottom up. Management isn't just, signing things off. They have to provide the resources. They define the quality policy. They have to review the system regularly to see if it's working. And crucially, they foster that environment where quality is everyone's job, where people feel empowered to speak up. It requires active, visible commitment from the top.
Right.
And tied right into that is record keeping. We touched on it, but that phrase, if it isn't documented, it didn't happen. You just can't say it enough in this field. Your records are the proof, tangible evidence that you followed your procedures. It's your history, your defense. In an audit, it has to be meticulous.
Okay, so documentation is king. And we mentioned two key records, the DMR, the device master record, and the DHR, the device history record. Let's revisit the DMR. You called it the blueprint. What exactly needs to be in there?
So the DMR is your master recipe, your how-to build guide. It needs all the product specifications, drawings, materials, software code, everything. Plus the detailed manufacturing processes, the quality assurance steps, how you're going to check things. And as we said, the packaging and labeling requirements. It takes the design output from the DHF and turns it into concrete steps for manufacturing.
Got it. And DHR, the device history record, that's about what actually happened during production.
Exactly. The DHR documents the making of a specific device or batch or lot. It includes things like dates of manufacture, quantities, results of tests performed during production. And critically, the specific labels and labeling used for that specific batch gives you that complete as-built record. Total traceability for every single device, like a detective's case file for each batch.
And with all these records, especially now with electronic systems, how do you ensure integrity? You mentioned audit trails.
Ah, yes. Audit trails are vital, particularly for electronic records. They're not just logs of who logged in. A proper audit trail captures who did what, when they did it, and ideally why they did it, for every significant action or change in the system.
So it's like a digital footprint for everything.
Precisely. It provides that forensic capability. You can reconstruct events, verify data hasn't been improperly altered. It's crucial for trust.
And speaking of electronic records, there's a specific regulation for that too, right? 21 CFR Part 11.
That's the one. Part 11 lays out the rules for electronic records and electronic signatures. The systems have to be secure, they have to be reliable, they need to be validated, proven to work correctly and consistently, and yes, they absolutely need those robust, unalterable audit trails. The goal is to ensure electronic records are just as trustworthy, if not more so, than paper.
It all comes down to trusting the data.
Which leads us straight to data integrity itself. The idea that your records are accurate, complete, reliable, consistent. We often talk about the ALCOA plus principles here. Data should be attributable who did it, legible, can you read it, contemporaneous recorded when it happened, original the first recording, or a true copy, accurate is it correct, and complete is everything there. Plus other attributes like being consistent, enduring, available.
ALCOA plus Compass Neo.
Got it. That's a good framework.
Okay.
Shifting back to the factory floor production and process controls, let's talk equipment qualification. IQ, OQ, PQ sounds complex.
It can be, but it's fundamental. Think of it in stages. DQ, design qualification. Is the equipment designed right for the job? IQ, installation qualification. Is it installed correctly according to the specs? OQ, operational qualification. Does it operate correctly across its defined range? Does it hit the right temperatures, speeds, pressures? And finally, PQ, performance qualification. Does it consistently produce good product under normal, real-world manufacturing conditions, often over multiple batches?
So it's a progressive series of checks. Exactly. Yeah. Rigorous proof that the equipment will consistently do what it's supposed to do day in, day out. You know, I remember a case where a company had great PQ results on paper, looked perfect.
Okay.
But they hadn't fully accounted for like the ambient humidity fluctuations in the actual production suite during different times of the year. It threw off one sensitive measurement just enough.
Ah, so the real world intruded.
Or let's be precise.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that qualification has to reflect actual operating reality, not just ideal lab conditions.
And it's not just the machines, but keeping them clean.
Right.
Like cleaning validation.
Absolutely vital. You need established cleaning procedures, and you need to validate them, prove they work. With scientifically sound acceptance criteria, how clean is clean enough? It's all about preventing cross-contamination between batches or residues from cleaning agents.
Yeah.
Product integrity is paramount, not just about looking tidy.
Right. What about when things need to change? You can't just tweak a process, can you? Change control.
Definitely not. Change control is your safety net. It's a formal, documented system for evaluating any proposed change to equipment, processes, materials, documents, anything. You need a formal request, then experts review it, they assess the impact, the risks. Is this change safe? Will it affect quality? If it's approved, you document the approval, how it's implemented, and then you test it thoroughly to make sure it worked as planned and didn't cause any unintended problems. It prevents chaos, basically.
And that control extends outwards, too, to suppliers.
Yes, supplier management is a huge part of QSR. You have to evaluate potential suppliers, contractors, consultants. Can they meet your requirements, including your quality requirements?
So you're vetting them up front.
You have to. You need procedures for selecting them, monitoring them, and potentially disqualifying them if they don't perform. Your quality depends on their quality. It's an extension of your own system.
Makes sense. And tying all this together is risk management.
Yes. Risk management shouldn't be a separate activity you do once. It has to be woven into everything. Design, manufacturing, supplier selection. It's about proactively thinking. What could go wrong here? How likely is it? How bad would it be? And then what controls can we put in place to reduce that risk?
That's continuous.
It has to be. ISO 14971 is the big standard here, globally recognized for medical device risk management. It really emphasizes that ongoing life cycle approach. You identify risks, you control them, you monitor if the controls are working, you feed that information back. It's a constant loop.
Okay, we've gone through a lot of the mechanics, the requirements. Let's step back. Why does all this intricate detail matter so much to, us, the patients, the users?
Fundamentally, it's about safety. It's about trust. QSR exists to protect people, to ensure that the devices we rely on sometimes for our very lives are made consistently well to the highest standards. It minimizes the risk of faulty devices reaching patients. It's that unspoken promise of quality and safety that happens behind the scenes. That's why it matters.
Yeah, it really reframes it. It's not just bureaucratic hoops to jump through. It's the system designed to ensure safety and effectiveness, to build and keep that public trust in medical technology.
Exactly.
So How do we know companies are actually doing all this? Audits, I assume.
Audits are key. You
Hmm.
have internal audits, the company checking itself, and then audits by regulatory bodies, like the FDA here in the U.S. They're like vital checkups. Independent assessments to make sure the QMS is implemented correctly and that the company is complying with QSR, with GMP.
And the FDA has teeth if they find problems.
Oh, absolutely. They have a range of enforcement tools. They can issue warning letters, which are serious formal notifications of violations.
Okay.
They can demand product recalls. In severe cases, they can impose fines, seize products, even get injunctions to shut down manufacturing facilities.
Hmm.
Patient safety is the priority.
What about that FDA Form 483? I've heard of that.
483. That's issued at the end of an FDA inspection. It lists the inspector's observations, things they saw that might indicate violations of the regulations. It's not technically a final determination of noncompliance, but it's a very clear signal. The company is expected to respond in writing, usually within 15 business days, explaining how they'll correct the issues. It's taken very seriously.
Okay. Now, is this kind of rigor system just a U.S. thing, or is it global?
That's a great point. While 21 CFR Part 820 is specific to the FDA and the U.S. market, the principles align very closely with international standards. The big one is ISO 13485. That's the international standard for quality management systems for medical devices. Many companies certify to ISO 13485.
Right.
And then you have major regulations like the EU's medical device regulation, the EU MDR. It's also very demanding with strong QMS requirements.
So there's a move towards harmonization, making the rules similar globally.
Very much so. There's a huge effort towards global harmonization. It makes sense, right? It simplifies things for manufacturers who sell globally. But more importantly, it helps raise the bar for quality and safety everywhere. Creates a kind of universal understanding, a shared language for what good medical device manufacturing looks like. Builds trust across borders.
So wrapping this up then, this deep dive has really shown that 21 CFR Part 820 isn't just a regulation, it's the fundamental architecture for ensuring medical device quality and safety, from concept to patient.
Absolutely. It's incredibly comprehensive. And it highlights that quality isn't static. It's a continuous journey, learning, adapting, always improving, all driven by that core commitment to keeping patients safe. It's about embedding that culture of compliance, that culture of quality into the very fabric of the organization.
So for everyone listening, here's something to think about. Consider all the complex systems you rely on every day. Your phone, the food you eat, how you travel. What are the hidden systems, the meticulous controls, the documentation, the constant improvement efforts working behind the scenes there? How does understanding something like the QSR for medical devices maybe change how you think about quality, about safety, and about trust in those other parts of your life?